Good morning, students. Today we will be discussing the importance of scientific understanding and how it helps us in how programming can be used to perform the scientific experiments, modelings, simulations in our laptop using Python. So Python is a very popular language, and today we will try to understand how it can be used to perform various scientific experiments on the computer. So in this course, you will be able to understand computer programming. You will be able to understand importance of computer simulations in the field of scientific uh, studies. It could be a physics, or it could be a biological experiment, or a chemistry experiment. Student will be able to understand difference between computer simulations and computer modeling. So computation versus experiment, how they are different from each other. What is the difference between computation and experiment? We conduct so many different kind of experiments like quantum computing, quantum simulation, quantum optics. In these experiments, we use a physical device, all right, like a simple experiment using pendulum or a lens that we have done in class 12, or it could be a very complicated experiments like some experiments conducted in the sun laboratory. So the actual experiment that is being conducted there, that experiment is using laptops in two different ways. The first is generation of simulation program, and the second is creation of a model, a modeling of the experiment. So we need to understand the difference between the simulation and the modeling, and we also need to understand how these simulation and modeling are different from the actual experiment, the physical experiment that is being conducted inside the lab. Why computer simulation is important? That is a very important question. Before we get into the subject, we must understand why computer simulation is important why computer simulation is important for our scientists, for our laboratories, for our research institutes. There is no exact analytical solution for many body problem. So many body problem is a physics problem, and it is a problem involving the gravitational force that exists between the heavy bodies in the space. Only a two body problem can be solved analytically. Many body problem cannot be solved analytically. Other general methods for many body problems involve approximations with uncontrolled errors. So there is no precise way to compute the solution of many body problem in an analytical way. So what we do, we try to figure out some approximation algorithms, and we apply these approximation algorithms on the numericals to generate the solution. Obviously, approximation algorithms generate solutions with some error, and the purpose of the programmer is always to reduce the error to minimum threshold value. So such kind of problems is very difficult to be solved analytically, and so we are left with no other alternative but to use a computer program. I can give you another example from mathematics. If you are trying to integrate in dimensions which is more than 3, say 4-dimensional integration or 5-dimensional integration or n-dimensional integration, the analytical techniques does not works out very well. We have to use numerical techniques to figure out the solutions. The numerical techniques are very easier to be compute. They are very easier to get programmed. You can very easily write a program which will compute the integration of a function in 4 dimensions. Such kind of problems is has to be such kind of problem has to be solved using computer programs. We can also generate simulations for chemistry problems like molecular dynamics, fluid dynamics, or for engineering like simulations for aerospace engineering, simulations for rocket science, simulations for nuclear physics. So these programs at the end of the day are helping scientists and engineers in analyzing the experiment before they are getting conducted. If we can generate a simulation for a rocket which has to be sent to some other heavenly bodies like a Mars or Moon, then it will be easier for us to analyze its trajectory. It will be easier for us to analyze its fuel consumption. It will be easier for us to analyze the timing it will take and to reach the destination. Simulations can help us in finding out the loopholes in the experiment that we are going to conduct inside the lab. And these loopholes can be sorted out. Solution to the problems that exist inside the experiment can be determined before the experiments get conducted, as a result of which we will be able to conduct a successful experiment. So simulations helps a lot in understanding the experiment. Similarly, you can model a problem like molecular dynamics can model the interaction between the molecules inside a chemical compound, or fluid dynamics can help us in modeling the movement of the fluid, which again can help us in analyzing those problems and generating good theoretical solutions and numerical solutions for those systems. Why computer simulation is important? Uncontrolled approximation always break down somewhere. The approximation algorithm that we are using in numerical technique to compute the solutions of many physics and chemistry problems, they come with lot of issues like test out or benchmark approximation methods, find their range of validity, exactness of simulation is very important. So the simulation that we are generating, that has to be very much exact and accurate to the real world problem. The validity of the solution is again very important. The solution that has been generated by the approximation algorithm, that should be meaningful. If I generate a solution that is not realistic, does it make any sense in conducting that experiment or the simulation? The benchmark of the software has to be done, taken care of. The approximation method has to be taken care of so that we can get a very standard algorithm which is giving us the most efficient program, which is giving us a program that is most efficient, the best technique available in the market. Wasting computer and human time is not a purpose of simulation. This is a very important technique, and we have to ensure that the computer resources and human resources that we are using should be utilized in a very efficient